I would rather spread that out for the budget wise. Because, you know, if we had 4 or 5 belly dumps, yeah, we could go through 10,000 yards in a day, but we got one and one other guy that can drive an end dump. And it takes many weeks to go through 10,000 yards.
Well, and if it's not needed, if it'll last you at least 2 years,
right,
which it sounds like it's going to.
It's going to, correct.
You know,
I just up front, just trying not, you know, just trying, the price, what we've been quoted for crushing really hasn't changed in 10 years, and if it does, it might be 50 cents or, you know, so,
you know,
no, I understand. I mean, I'd gladly have them put up 20, it's just more money that you gotta pay in 1 year rather than spreading it out over 2 years or 3 years. Okay? We gotta decide what we're gonna do with that cement at the state shed. Personally, I would like to dig a hole in the Cathay pasture and bury it this fall, come this winter towards freeze up, and get it out of there. Brian Schimmelfinnig said he could dig us a very large hole in the span of 4, 5, 6 hours. Probably cost us about $1,000 to dig the hole. Okay? And then it's just a matter of us burying it. But for us to haul it over there. And come freeze up, we're always looking for things to keep the guys busy. Hopefully it's not snowing in October and November, and we can do projects like this. I'd like to get rid of that cement, but we'd also have to apply for a permit again, like we did when we buried the school. And I think Dan is the one that applied for that permit. I think you kind of know what I'm talking about, correct, Dan?
Got lots of help from the state of North Dakota because they had a vested interest in getting rid of the Cathay school.
Right.
So I don't know if they have a vested interest in getting rid of the concrete.
Right.
Oh, but concrete should, you would think, be easier to get from it.
Well,
the school, you don't know what's in there. There's oil.
The one bonus or benefit, in my opinion, that we have is we're not asking. We're burying cement where we've already buried the school. We've already got a permit for this project in the previous years. So I would think that because we're not trying to take a different 15-acre piece of land and turn it into a landfill, I would hope.
It could be simple.
But nothing simple when it comes to the state. I think we can all agree to that. And it may take us 3-4 months to get that permit. Just because they get the application for the permit doesn't mean we're going to find out in 2 weeks. You know how that works also. So if we're going to do something with that cement this fall, we're probably going to have to get the ball rolling on seeing if we can get a permit. And once we get the permit, then it's full bore ahead. Okay? The other thing, I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but in one of the July windstorms, one of the barn doors off that storage shed at the fairgrounds got ripped off. So that huge shed that's in the back that we store equipment in the fall, winter, and that they have their FF or their 4-H thing in, it's got 2 sliding barn doors. And those barn doors have been beat to living you know what over the past years. And they're bent up, and the wind ripped one off. It's laying on the ground. Okay, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but I would, you know, obviously those doors suck. Barn doors suck that you got to slide open in the winter. We use it in the winter, and having the chipped doors out and everything else, not to mention it's a north-facing door. I would like to put just a plain run-of-the-mill overhead door in. Doesn't have to be insulated, doesn't need to have an opener. But, is that a fair board? Is that a...
Is it a 20-foot door or bigger?
It's a big door. It's
huge.
It's huge.
What's the wind going to do to that one? It's half open. Because not everybody's going to have enough brains to open it all the way or leave it shut. I'm
Well,
asking the question.
well, what the only people that open it is going to be us and the sheriff's department to get in and out of there.
What about during the fair?
During the fair, it should just, there's no reason to ever close it. It should be pushed all the way up.
I'm just saying that's
Right.
something we want to make sure.
You know, I mean, we're gonna have to get a new door because the one that got ripped off is twisted all the hell. Heck, pardon my French. But there's no way right now to seal up that building, and we got to get a door, some type of door on it. A north-facing door in the winter, I don't need to tell you what's going to happen. So, and I don't know, you know, where it stands with the fair board is. The way I understand is we're in charge of grounds, and they're in charge of all the buildings with the exception of the festival hall and that little work shed that we have. So is it the fair board's responsibility to put a door on that building, or is it the county, being the road department, uses that building most of the year? I don't know. I don't know if the county built that building or if the fair board. Does anybody know?
That was probably.
Ultimately, we pay a lot of the bills anyway, so we probably.
But you are right about, we take care of the festival hall and the grounds, and they take care of it, they are supposed to take care of it.
Right. So in my mind, I should probably go to the next fair board meeting and
September 8th.
well, I think that after a good fair, they should be a little bit better with me this year, but irregardless, we're gonna have to put a door in that building. And what type of door, to me, an overhead door up, is, it's probably about the same size the door that we have on what we call the Bob building over here at the shop.
You got any idea of cost?
No, because I'm just bringing, we have a couple months, so I can look into the cost of a cheap overhead door. And, it doesn't have to have an opener. We can push the door up. The door is shut all winter long. And it's open previous to the fair, a couple weeks, just to air out the building for the 4-H. And then, as we get all the equipment put back in there, we close it up and we keep it shut.
Yeah.
But with the barn doors, the sliding barn doors, when you get that wind pushing, it bows in on the middle, it twists the doors. And we are talking about 2 big doors that are on there now.
I would suggest this. I would suggest getting a price for the doors.
Okay.
And I would suggest everybody that's involved with it have a little skin in the game.
I agree. I'm not saying we use the building more than anybody,
Right.
but,
4-H needs to pop a little up there too.
well, they had no problem purchasing a $30,000 storage shed not too long ago.
Well, my point.
Yeah, mine
Like I
too.
said, everybody needs to get some skin in the game so that there's thought behind how that door is gonna be operated.
I agree, yeah, let's take it from
I'll,
there.
I'll price out a door and have some numbers for you in September. All right. Other than that, we can go on to the next. I have a few more things, but we'll talk about that after the other next two.
I guess, Chasely, you guys wanna come up? Chase it down, Chase.
What?
We'll come out there.
You hang out back here? You wanna join us?
Chair up here.
Morning, guys.
I think you guys all know you, but he probably doesn't, so introduce yourselves.
Kim Hart. What are you doing this morning?
Pardon?
What are you doing this morning?
Cool. 47 degrees this morning.
Let's get it done, I got things to do.
Pardon?
So let's get this over with, I got things to do.
Well, we just, there's always 2 sides of the story, and there's been some friction, I wanna hear what you guys got to say.
When board members talk and there's nothing signed, there's no merit. If there, there's been, I read his article, which I didn't think was real fair, but, there's been talk said that, Doug fired, we don't want him back in the township. There's no merit to that. If one guy or 2 guys are talking, there's no merit if it hasn't been written, signed, and sent in. And we have no right to fire him anyway. For one thing, Doug has really stepped it up. The road looks great.
Now, we started, there was about 3 weeks where we weren't in there. But after the July meeting, I spoke to Dennis that night, and the next morning Doug was instructed to run all the roads again, and we didn't want him to get out of hand. And so he was, I want to say last week or the week before, he went through all the roads in Chasely Township.
He's gonna drove some of the smaller roads too, and they look great. That 2 miles that used to be paved, he does a round and a half, works perfect. Some of those other roads, and I'm probably not gonna be the most popular guy in any township. A lot of the problems when that gets bladed is the farmers aren't getting their ditches trimmed. They're not. You got weeds all the way to the 15th of October standing up all along the road.
That's 100% of the problem.
It is,
You're
and
not-
I don't know,
That's 90% of the problem.
I don't know what you do. You hire somebody to do it and add on to the land taxes, or?
Now, that's happening in a lot of counties, they're doing that.
I don't know.
The other issue is, if you wait till that fall and cut them, some of them fall into that windrow, we all know what happens then.
When those are as tall as this table.
Get a rake out there and rake it in the ditch.
Right now, is it in the county only, they have to be trimmed by October 15th? Is that kind of
But they're
a,
twice, right?
I don't know. That's
June-
what I'm asking.
June and
The
October.
first cut is not mandatory.
That's-
Oh,
oh,
that's
okay,
One
right,
is.
yes.
It's suggested by like July
It's
first or
it's
July
a
10th.
recommendation, maybe should become
And
that.
maybe it
That's
should
up to
be
you guys, but it's
mandatory.
not. But it's mandatory in the fall.
Yeah, I knew that. And it's 2 slopes, isn't it?
I think it's 14 feet, isn't it?
2 lists were possible.
Yeah, I think it's 14. I think it's 14 feet considering 7 foot more. I think it should be a little more than that, but
Some of the
Many
ditches
times-
are so impossible, you can't get
Right.
down on them, they're so steep.
Well,
Back
Well,
to,
the good ditches usually take care of people's hand,
Right.
it's bad.
I mean, I feel bad that it came to all this crap, you know, Doug stepped up his game a little, I mean, the roads look good.
Well, Kyle and I had a good talk here about a week ago, correct, Kyle?
Yeah,
Yeah. Kyle reached out after Doug had bladed.
I didn't know anything was planned that he was even gonna do it.
You know, yeah, the commissioners met in July, and they knew that we needed to meet with you. And at no point, when we stopped blading, when we decided that we were gonna stop blading for, the couple weeks, in my mind, it wasn't gonna be for good, but there was a lot of hard feelings, and Kyle and I have kind of talked about this between what was going on, what was said, what was texted, and it's all in the past, okay? Kyle and I have agreed that we need to work together. Correct, Kyle? We probably both need to give a little bit. My big thing is, I just hated to see Doug so disrespected for a guy that's dedicated over half his life to being a Wells County blade guy. And he is a good blade guy. And blade guys are hard to come by. And so that being said, I don't, we're going to continue to blade there as long as you guys want us there. And we'll continue to blade the roads the way we feel best to blade the roads. There's time in the spring if we're reaching out and pulling any shoulders or anything that we have to have a little windrow in the spring. You just can't lay it all out in the road. It's a safety hazard, to be honest with you. You just can't have all that loose gravel on the center of the road. And when we pull shoulders, we're retrieving gravel also. That's got put in the ditch over the years. And there's a reason for that. We want it to water the drain off the roads, but we work all summer long to get rid of that windrow. And that's the way we were trained, and we're not trying to do anything, out of the ordinary. We're just trying to maintain the roads, get the water to drain off. The one thing that I think needs to be taken into consideration is that, and it's unfortunate, but the roads are built different down south than they are up north. There's not the deep ditches on a lot of your roads. They're different. I think you guys would probably agree.
Oh, yeah.
And they tend to have grass grow up on the roads more so than anything. And so it's really, if you compare roads to down south, to compare roads to maybe a Harvey blade guy or even a Fessenden blade guy, it's comparing apples to oranges. These guys up north are working with deep ditches, and it's an entirely different type of road. And Doug, I feel, has done very good with what he has to work with, and so as far as the road department stance is, and we're just going to keep blading if that's what you guys want.
There was never, I don't know what was said, but there was no merit to any of it.
Well, and that was our last meeting. We came to the conclusion that unless you come up with a organized public meeting with a motion and a second and all that stuff, what one person says does not have merit. I mean, it has an influence and it affects people's emotions and what they say, but doesn't have any jurisdiction. If you
As
wanna
far,
call it
as
that.
far as the roads go, I'm gonna respectfully disagree on some. We've got this much road on each side that is flat top gravel once. And I don't know whether to blame it on the blade man, blame it on the farmers for not trimming their ditches. But we've talked before about spraying it back, but, you know, that costs money too, and how long that would last, I don't know. But those roads are fairly wide down there. Not all of them, there's some that are.
Yeah.
The original road.
Yeah.
Some of them are travel very little, just to the farmers, to the field and home.
Right.
I like
The
to
roundhouse roads, you get a little traffic.
Yeah.
But other than that, a couple main roads get traffic.
I'd like to make a comment if it's possible. I spent a good many years of my life traveling 4 states. Gravel roads, county roads, or whatever, and I've seen all of them. Not that that has been there, I just want to give you background. One of the things that I would like to see come forward from what we're talking about here today, we got some results and Doug did a good job. And we're thankful for that. Why did it have to come to this to get that accomplished? So what I'm saying is this, from here on forward, everybody that's got a skin in the game, whether it's the maintainer man, the road department, the township guys, whatever, let's keep communication going. Let's try to respect each other. And let's not let it have to get to this point to get results anymore. We don't need that from any side of this game at all.
Thank
We
Doug,
need to
you
do
did a really
that
nice
for-
job.
I already have. I actually called Doug tonight, right after Kyle and I spoke. So, my phone, what I would ask you guys as a township is if you have any questions or concerns, call me. This spring, Doug and I came out to Corey's shop, and we kind of agreed that we needed to pull some shoulders on that main road. And we had a great conversation. I know it's Corey, it's a different township, but we had a great conversation, and at that time I made myself very clear. Listen, if you have any concerns or questions or whatever, call me. And I didn't get a call. And it's like I ultimately am in charge of those blade guys. So what I ask, whether it's a complaint or a compliment, I'll treat the phone call the same way, okay? But we got to communicate better.
So anyway, we appreciate you guys coming in and clearing this up.
Thank you.
And I think it's Ron's right, communication on all levels.
If Doug can keep doing those 2 miles that were paved at one time, we've got enough other roads that are closed because of high water. If he can always make that round in half, it really works. It keeps it.
Yeah, it's wide enough that he has to 3-pass it.
Yeah, so we appreciate
Yeah.
that too.
Sure.
I don't think anybody ever doubted his ability, but I'm gonna say a word here that I hope doesn't upset people. But we all sometimes lack want on all angles. We have good days, we have bad days. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. So that's why I said the things that I said. We need to hope we don't have to go to this point.
What is the motive on certified miles, the objective, how many times per year?
The agreement states once a month.
Want to use motive? This is why it's there. Do you think those
Sure, 30 minutes.
Well, apparently the phone call last week was a change.
road? Social media.
here's the deal. I don't care how many pictures you show. I don't care. Those roads are gonna get bladed 6 times a year, okay? That's what the agreement states.
It's not signed yet.
And it hasn't been paid. So Kyle, apparently, the phone call we had last week has gone nowhere, because we had a great phone call last week, and now you're coming in here with both guns blazing again.
I'm just going through, why this started?
All right, here's the deal, and I think these guys need to know it. What happened this spring is not a one-year thing. This has been going on for 10-plus years. Okay, I was going down there with Mel because of this. I have been down into this township more times than I have almost the other 35 townships combined. And Boone and I were down there when I first started. How many times, Boone?
You?
Okay? This is not a one-year thing, okay? If you don't think that we're gonna blade these roads and they're not getting bladed 6 times a year, then don't pay your dues and find somebody else to do it.
No, that's,
These photos
No,
just
no,
show-
Brent, we're not going down that
These
road.
photos just
No,
show-
Brent.
We just agreed to get along, and here we go again.
let me see, I've never seen it. I don't know.
This is why this is a problem.
So,
Did you guys pay your?
That ain't even our township, Kyle.
Yeah.
The $100.
We have
that they paid.
nothing to say about Silver Lake Township. We are Wellstown, or Chasen Township, excuse me.
there's Jason Township section.
These are south.
Correct.
But it's Silver Lake.
Silver Lake Township.
We're not, we're Chaseley Township. We are here for Chaseley Township only.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
sort of
let's
like-
stick to the subject.
You know, these are prairie roads, how do you blade that to start with?
I don't know.
These are, some of them are Silver Lake.
Right.
One time were they good roads?
So last, two springs ago, Dan Scotland, did you go look at some roads of Brian Gunderson,
That would have been last year in May.
25? Brian Gunderson is a guy, very well respected. I respect him highly. And here we are on the same subject as last year.
We're talking about a different township, Kyle.
He farms in our township. It's part of our deal, same concept.
Let's just start fresh, okay? Kyle, what do you want?
Some of these roads abroad just got done for the second time this year. I'm not lying to you. So on the certified miles, if this is gonna get done 6 times, May, June, July, August, September, October.
6.
And it's August right now, and it's been done twice, and we're supposed to pay $100? I'm just making points to add these up.
The $100 is the full year, so consider.
I understand that, but the idea, it's pennies. But if you're gonna put everything on a pedestal and keep your employees accountable as well. Because it's in that agreement that we signed, and it's not getting done. I didn't write the agreement.
This is a Township Association thing, not a Chaseley Township thing. Thank you, guys. I'm very happy with what he's doing.
So if I run the Chaseley Township, ask for it. I don't run it, I just do it. So,
What township do you sit on the commission, on the board of directors?
Chaseley.
Okay.
So with these pictures, your biggest complaint is they didn't get done soon enough or haven't been done?
Often.
I'm just being honest with you, it just got done for, some of these roads got done for the second and third. time.
70% of the roads in Chaseley Township are basically prairie trails. And you guys know it, so do
I
they.
see that.
And the roads that he's showing you pictures of are in Silver Lake Township.
It's Chaseley.
There are
But
some.
it, don't get hung up on that. It's like-
On a block. this was the last year issue with Dan Sutton, and he got in trouble because he voluntarily wanted to help the community. And here we are.
How did you
Year
get in
two.
trouble?
I don't know who the,
I think it's a combination of things here. First off, would blading them more often make the roads better? Probably not, because they're in bad shape
Some
to
of them
start with.
These are never mowed.
Well, they're not used enough, there's not enough gravel, there's no ditch. Some of these roads, and it's no different than I farm in Church County, okay. They're shot. It's not the blade operator's job to build a road, it's to maintain it. So, sticking up for Doug, he's in a tough position. Secondly, I don't think, that's a general principle about once a month. Blading them more often probably wouldn't help. Okay. And you obviously would agree that you want the main road bladed more often because of the traffic, because of the work. So, saying all that, it's just a difficult situation all the way around.
that's good. Because the roads have to be counted on these 25 miles.
And if they aren't accounting the certified miles,
Well, then that hurts you
It
because
hurts
you
you.
lose state,
Correct.
and you don't want to do that.
But how do you cope with it if it's in agreement 6 times a year? And here we are. I mean, we might be the worst part of the county, but I have landlords that come from Minnesota and Fargo that ask, why is their road full of grass? This used to be a road.
there you go. You just hit the nail on the head, okay?
I mean,
You know why the roads are full of grass? Because there's hardly any gravel on them. There's no ditches, they're prairie trails. They're smooth and they can be driven, okay? We don't drive lawnmowers, we drive motor graders.
in 2025, how many roads do we go?
A lot of them.
Majority of them. And that's in Tracy County, or Tracy County.
When,
She's the check writer.
how much, so you happen to have the numbers of what you paid?
There's over $40,000.
Okay. Do you understand that $40,000 basically gravels 5 miles?
Well, then it was more than that, but they gravelled almost all of them to the north. But out on the farm where we used to live, that gravel roads only a mile north and 2
Spot
miles.
gravel, correct?
No, what I'm getting at, there's so much grass in the middle of the road's not getting bladed. And when we farmed out there, you could take 2 vehicles down that road, and now it looks like a prairie trail.
Do you have many or any prairie trails, and you know what I'm talking about, that aren't bladed in your township? See, what I see,
Specifically,
There's one, but usually the landowner.
you know how many
takes care
prairie
of it.
trails in Pierce County I drive on, get my fields? I can't count them on 2 hands. But I go down there, everything is tried to be maintained like it was years ago, and I think, I hate to say this, but the township's gotta look hard and fast at, does it pay to keep that, I don't know how many miles, how many graded miles do they have, 26, whatever it is,
25 to 30, whatever it is.
to quit maintaining it, because it doesn't pay to keep graveling something that doesn't, you know, and you can still run equipment on it. Like I said, we drive lots of miles of prairie trails to get to our fields. That's a hard decision to make, but maybe you gotta consider that, because gravel is really expensive.
And if you're telling you them prairie trails, are they part of the gravel road business or not?
They have, some of them have ditches, some of them don't, they just aren't maintained anymore.
Chaseley Township is 34 miles.
Well, whatever it is, but,
So,
and that's a hard decision to make, because
right, but, you know, I guess it's hard for me to understand that, because if you have spent the money to gravel roads, would you not want to have them maintained?
Well, you do, but I'm looking 10 years down the road. You're gonna keep maintaining all those.
I understand
Can you do
that.
that? That's
But-
my point.
If that's the case, then there needs to be a little difference in policy.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is that road gets used a lot by farmers, and there's no way you could put a truck and a pickup on that road. It's got that hill,
It's multiple,
and,
it's
Well,
not just one individual one.
you know, there's
in
several
cases
guys
like that, you certainly wouldn't want to abandon it or something like that.
No, but
There's too much
That
traffic.
was the four photos.
but
That I
it,
sent you. It said it's 3 miles. It just got done.
It looks
the second
abandoned.
time. It's out of our control. It's up to the commissioners to dictate what transpires moving forward. I stated my case as peaceful as I could, respectively, without losing my cool, and you guys respected it.
Yep, thank you for that, we will look into that.
Okay, thank you.
okay,
Thank you for being here. Let's get Janelle up here.
Janelle.
Before she falls asleep.
Dan said, come right over it. Please.
You have a couple
Good
of
morning.
documents that say emergency services
Yeah.
in your packet.
What's that?
You have some documents that say emergency services at the top of your packet, 2 of them.
It is time to renew our memorandum of understanding with the North Dakota State Radio, now known as the ECC. Same standard agreement as we do all the time. The dispatch rates are not changing this biennium. They are still going to be $1.59 per line.
However, what does it cost to fund all those lines?
We collect $1.50 by statute, so it is what it is.
This is one of those areas on
We
your,
lose 9 cents a line.
Correct.
on your balance sheet that you're never gonna recover from. And this last month it showed -42, and we wrote bills for 23 grand, so it's -65 right now. And it's never gonna come back into balance, never,
Never.
without a change at the state.
Well, I was
level.
gonna say, it's never a long time, unless you change it, you let things go.
There isn't a county in the state of North Dakota that is not in the same boat.
And that takes legislative
It
action,
would take
correct? Well,
legislative
that's-
action,
that's-
because your phone bill is, that portion of it is dictated by the legislature.
We have a 6-county meeting coming up, that's an agenda item, that didn't promote, do it through the arms in this legislature.
And I don't think anybody's gonna give up their cell phone because it goes from $1.59 to $2.17.
Right,
But it's gonna need to take something like that, and I'm sorry.
right.
The service costs money, and the state is inhibiting our ability to collect what it costs to provide the service. So,
We are allowed to collect $2, we collect $2, however, 50 cents of that is mandated to go to the state of North Dakota for the siren project. Okay? Don't know what's gonna happen when the siren project is over, if they're going to still allow that extra 50 cents or not, that's a conversation for another day. But, I noticed on the agenda for the Association of Counties Conference that one of the items to be discussed are regional 911 centers. I'm going to go and listen just the same as I hope you do. I have no idea what the plan might be going forward, but for right now, State Radio is our dispatch center. They provide excellent service. I would hope you would sign this memorandum of understanding and continue on. That's our option. We don't have an option, that's who dispatches for us.
You don't have a choice, but you have it.
Does anybody have questions on 911 centers, how they work, what we're paying for? I mean,
No.
if you're not paying the $1.59 just to answer 911, where's your emergency? It goes much further than that, right? Brian Miller knows that, he's a responder. Anybody that's been a responder, know you are in contact with that dispatcher from start to finish. That's part of the whole game, whether you're running a driving record on a traffic stop or paging ALS for ambulances, mutual aid for fire. That's all a part of what dispatch does.
I'll make a motion to approve this second reading. Excuse me.
Motion made by That's up to the board, any discussion on it?
Now, I have one quick little question. A lot of times your phone will say emergency calls only in the area where things are not, that's the coverage.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Okay. Does that mean 911 will still work?
If you can get a signal, you can call 911. You can text 911. If you
I'm
have
just
no,
curious.
if you have a phone in your door that you no longer have on a plan, if that phone powers up, by law, it can call 911.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Because once in a while I'll get in a spot in the field and I'll want to call somewhere and it says emergency calls only.
Okay.
So
Or
it makes-
SOS on your.
Yeah. And I was just curious if that, you know, if that would do any, because they just had one this weekend up at Buffalo Lake. They talked this morning on the radio, they called 911, they got the, they make it.
Right.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Any
sure.
other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carried.
So you'll sign it, Dan will get it back to me,
Yep.
we'll get it over to them. Okay, anything else for me?
So,
Unless you got something.
Unless you have something, you have something for us.
No, I don't think I do.
Give us an hour.
You want mine back?
Mr. Mache,
Yes.
come on up.
You're up.
morning, guys.
Good
Morning. I'm sure everybody here knows us, but I'm Don Mache and my wife Kathy, and we're here representing West Norwood Township. And what I want to talk about today is the bridge project going on out there. I'll try to put this story together as best as I can. Over a year ago, we've seen people out there surveying by the bridge. I had no clue what was going on. So I asked Mr. Keller here one day, what's going on? He said, well, they're gonna build some new bridges here. And I said, is this something the township ought to be involved in? He says, no, the county takes care of bridges. And at that time, he said you were thinking of putting 2 box culverts in. Okay? This is all well and good. Then down the road, Brentford, I hear that they're gonna eliminate 2 bridges and put 1 in, and they're gonna build a road around Jim Albright's pasture. And you come and told me that, and I said, you and Leon, you said had talked to Jimmy. And I said,
Leon did, yeah.
well, whatever. Anyway, I said, does Jimmy know about this? And you said, yeah, it's all taken care of. So I just assumed Jim knew what was going on. Anyway, fast forward, last winter, in different times we read in the paper what was going on with the West Norwood Bridge. And nobody had ever contacted me as the township supervisor. We came to the meeting here and we asked a bunch of questions. We had no clue what was going on. And the engineer was here that day, Mayfield, and after the meeting I said, I'd like you to take me out and show me exactly what you got planned. So we drove out there and he has this map drawn where they go right around Jim Albright's hayfield, and they're gonna make this road, however. And I said, well, it doesn't make much sense what you're doing here. And we kind of talked a few things over, and he said, yeah, we can change this. Well, then, a little later down the road, not so long ago, I talked to David Albright, who is Jim's brother, and we were talking about this bridge deal, and he said, you know, nobody has ever contacted Jim and asked for right-of-ways. Nobody went in his yard and told him what he's doing or what we got planned. So I went over, and before I went over and talked to him, I get this letter in the mail from the DOT, and it says the township will provide or acquire the right-of-way required for construction on the project. So now all of a sudden I'm involved, which I didn't think I had to be. So I go over and talk to Jim, and he says, nope, nobody has ever contacted him. Nobody said nothing. He said, I hear these rumors where they're gonna go right through my hayfield. I'm not for it at all, absolutely not. And I
said, well, this could shut the whole project down. So I tried to talk to him, and I said, you know, they had this road going right through the middle of that hayfield. I said, would you agree